Ned Stark was a man of honor.
And I am not. Threaten me again, and I'll have you thrown into the sea.
You might be disappointed in the results. The storms come and go. The big fish eat the little fish, and I keep on paddling.
The eunuch, the spider, the master of whisperers. Varys is known by many names in the story, all of which allude to his widespread reputation as the crown's spy master. This reputation is fitting for him because Varys is cunning, ubiquitous, and duplicitous by nature, serving everyone at the same time but holding loyalty to no one. It's actually the reason why so many characters distrust him even though they use his intelligence, considering him to be distasteful and untrustworthy. Many of them even see him as an enigma, a eunuch with an obscure past, a master of disguise, and a manipulator who trades in whispers. In the books, far more than in the show, George R.R. Martin makes Varys a far more deceptive and dangerous player, a man whose true motives are hidden beneath layers of secrecy, leaving every other character wondering which side he's really on.
Who do you truly serve? The realm, my lord. Someone must.
Who exactly is Varys? What does he want? And who specifically does he serve? Varys is a far more intriguing character in the books, specifically because these questions remain unanswered about him. But not completely. There are some answers to these questions in the books. In the books, we do learn a little bit about Varys' past in the Free Cities and how he became such a great spy master by trading in secrets. As a boy, Varys was an orphan who was adopted by a group of mummers, which is basically like a circus or group of actors in this world. It was with them that he learned how to disguise himself and mimic other people's voices, a skill that he uses often in the book as he wears many disguises and changes his voice like he changes his shirt. But during this time with the mummers, he was also sold off to a sorcerer from Myre, who mutilated him by cutting off his manhood. The man performed a blood ritual and tossed his parts in a brazier, conjuring a voice to speak from the flames.
I still dream of that night. Not of the sorcerer, not of his blade. I dream of the voice from the flames. Was it a god, a demon, a conjurer's trick? I don't know. But the sorcerer called, and a voice answered.
When there was no more use for Varys, he tossed him out and left him for dead. But Varys didn't die. He instead chose to live by thieving his way through Essos, growing in notoriety until he was known as the Prince of Thieves. In A Dance with Dragons, ILLYRIO says that in PENTOS, Varys was despised and beaten as a eunuch, but ILLYRIO took him in once he discovered Varys' talents as a thief. He says, "Varys spied on lesser thieves and took their takings. I offered my help to their victims, promising to recover their valuables for a fee. Soon, every man who had suffered a loss knew to come to me, while cities' footpads and cut purses sought out Varys, half to slit his throat, the other half to sell what they'd stolen. We both grew rich, and richer still when Varys trained his mice." These mice became Varys' little birds, a bunch of orphan boys and girls who were young, slender, and quick. Instead of teaching them to steal gold or silver, Varys taught them to climb walls and slip through chimneys, and most importantly, how to read. Instead of stealing money, they'd read secret letters and charts, informing Varys, and he would later on sell these secrets to powerful magisters and princes. Through this organization and his skill in telling people just enough of a secret to keep them dependent on him, Varys' reputation grew until he was sought after by a paranoid king who didn't trust his son or his hand. This is when he came to Westeros and became the Master of Whisperers, a position that he was exceptionally good at and became very powerful through. As Master of Whisperers, Varys trades in secrets, and Littlefinger once remarks that Varys is exceptionally good at his trade. Varys doesn't just know what a person did or what he is currently doing, but he also knows what a person is going to do, seemingly even before they think to do it themselves.
How did you know I was coming?
Knowledge is my trade, my lady.
Littlefinger even says himself that nothing happens in the city without Varys knowing. Oftentimes, he knows about it before it happens. He has informants everywhere. His little birds, he calls them. Varys' vast network of child spies keeps him informed of everything, whether it's happening in Westeros or Essos, and this almost gives him an omniscient reputation. Varys hears everything, every secret conversation and every whisper, and that breeds fear and mistrust amongst his rivals. No one likes to feel like they're being watched or listened to, and in King's Landing, Varys is always watching, whether through spies or by slipping in and out of rooms himself. In the books, Varys is always described as wearing soft slippers and silken robes that don't make a sound. It makes him impossible to detect when he walks into rooms, and that's why so many people always assume he's somewhere listening to them as they speak. Varys also wears a lot of disguises in the books, so sometimes he's right there in plain sight and people don't even notice him. This is how he's able to help Tyrion escape imprisonment in the books, and this is how he starts to plant the seeds of Cersei's madness and paranoia in A Feast for Crows, by disguising himself as one of the Growlers in the Black Cells. In the novels, Varys is therefore far more slippery, ubiquitous, and effective as a spy master, as he can often appear to be everywhere all at once. This serves well for any master that he serves, because it means that they are always informed about their enemy's movements and 2 steps ahead of any affairs that they're secretly planning. It becomes very clear to everyone that no secrets are safe from the Master of Whisperers. But in a feudal society that values honor and truth, Varys comes across as deceitful and sycophantic because of this. People distrust him and his duplicitous nature, and in the book, it's for good reasons. Who does Varys serve? Where do his loyalties lie? These are the questions that we never truly get an answer to in the books. The fact that no one can be sure who Varys is really serving is the primary reason why he's so untrustworthy in the novels. Varys has a long history of shifting loyalties. He initially arrived in King's Landing to be a spy master for Aerys Targaryen, and yet he managed to ingratiate himself with Robert Baratheon when he took over as king. It seems as though Varys will provide information for anyone who asks him, even if that means providing information to rival factions, as long as it serves his own interests at the end of the day. Cersei Lannister actually puts it quite nicely when she tells Tyrion, "You think you're the only one he whispers secrets to? He gives each of us just enough to convince us that we'd be helpless without him." The truth is that Varys will parcel out his knowledge very carefully, one secret here, another there, making each person think he's their most trusted confidant, while in truth, he's serving his own hidden goals. This manipulative tactic means no one can ever be sure when Varys is telling them the truth or when he's leading them into a trap. Tyrion only realizes later on in the books that Varys delights in making everyone think that they have his loyalty. But in reality, the spider's only true loyalty may be to himself, to some cause that no one truly knows of. And we see concrete examples of Varys' double-sided dealings throughout the story. In one instance, while he was acting friendly and helpful to Tyrion in A Clash of Kings, Varys was simultaneously feeding information that actually damned Tyrion. During Tyrion's trial for the murder of Joffrey, Varys took the stand and testified against him, using everything he'd ever said to condemn Tyrion. In private conversations that Tyrion had shared in confidence were repeated coolly by Varys during the trial. Powdered, primped, and smelling of rosewater, the spider rubbed his hands one over the other all the time as he spoke. Washing my life away, Tyrion thought, as he listened to the eunuch's mournful account of how the imp had schemed to part Joffrey from the Hound's protection and spoken with Bronn of the benefits of having Tommen as king. Half-truths are worth more than outright lies, and unlike the others, Varys had documents, parchments painstakingly filled with notes, details, dates, whole conversations, so much material that its resuscitation took all day, and so much of it damning. Similarly, in A Game of Thrones, Arya sees Varys conspiring in secret with ILLYRIO MOPATIS, discussing delays to the coming war until the right time. Varys never shares anything from that meeting with his employers, the Lannisters, so what was his true aim all along? It's only in A Dance with Dragons that we learn that he was plotting to restore Targaryen on the Iron Throne, the young Aegon VI, the son of Rhaegar and Elia Martell. Every move, from keeping the realm unstable by fanning conflicts to eliminating certain key figures like Kevan Lannister, all of it has been for the sake of that hidden goal. But since no one in Westeros knows that, all they see is a man who sometimes helps them and other times undermines them. Varys, therefore, is an example of the type of man that cannot be trusted. As Eddard Stark thinks to himself grimly, for all Varys' protestations of loyalty, the eunuch knew too much and did too little. In Ned's view, Varys' vast knowledge never translates into straightforward help, and that implies that Varys is always holding back and serving his own interest while others are always seemingly taking the risks on his behalf. And such a man can never be trusted. In the world of Westeros, where honor and oaths are the coin of trust, Varys stands out as a man with no honor at all, no bloodlines, and seemingly no fixed loyalties to anyone. Instead, Varys is the master of whisperers, whose loyalty is as shifting as a branch in the wind. He thrives on secrets, helps one faction only to help the enemy camp next, and hides all of this deceit behind a courteous smile and mama's disguises. However, as duplicitous and unloyal as Varys may seem, he would ironically argue that he's the most loyal person of them all. Varys grew up amongst the commoners, and he was used and mutilated by someone who clearly had enough money to buy him as a slave and disregard his life after he was used for that same purpose. So perhaps Varys seeks to look out for people who were once like him, commoners that no one ever thinks for in the halls of power. Varys would argue that he is the most loyal person in the world, not to any king, but to the people of the realm. In the books, he once replies to Ned Stark after he asks him who he truly serves. Why, the realm, my good lord. How could you doubt that? Perhaps Varys only seems disloyal and untrustworthy because no one in the Red Keep ever truly thinks about the common people outside the halls of power. The highborn rarely ever think about the people that they serve. So of course, a person like Varys, who is always serving the interests of the small folk, might appear to be untrustworthy and disloyal. That's what I think. But what do you think about Varys' character? Who do you think he serves, and why do you think he's so disloyal? Let me know down below in the comments section, and if you like this video, then click the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video. Peace.